Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Real Recognizes Real. I'm your host, Control Simpson, College Controls. A lot of you guys know me from Wire to Wire and Coast to Coast Tailgate. And this week, we got another fun one for you. Wanted to go to a little bit of a smaller school, get back to the offensive side of things, and ultimately decided to go with a wide receiver out of Western Kentucky, and that's Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley is a guy who, you might start to hear a lot of his name now because of how well he's performed at like the combine and things like that. But this is a guy who kind of flew under the radar for a while. So I'm definitely, excited to go into this prospect that's at a smaller school. And so let's get right into it. So for Malachi Corley, he's a receiver that plays mostly slot, but this is a kid that's very versatile. He can play slot. They also had him play some outside and then, motion him inside to where he's running routes from the inside, but he also takes running back snaps. He'll take some direct snaps. He'll take jet sweeps. Really, wherever you kind of want to play him, he will find a way to be successful on offense. The next thing I really loved about seeing Malachi's tape is how elusive he was. Almost every single time that he had the football in his hands, he made the first defender miss. And that's something that's very special, especially at that level, because you would think that with Malachi Corley, being at a Western Kentucky, there might be certain things to his game that he would need to improve. And, just the shiftiness that he has, I'm very surprised that he ultimately didn't end up at a Power Five. Now, another thing that I saw on tape that I liked about him as well, when there's off man coverage, he does a great job of setting up his routes and really just giving himself just enough time to get open. And then the last thing that I wanted to touch on as well, again, I looked at the tape and I said, this kid is a guy that should have been playing at a Power Five. So for all you out there that are, talking about it's Western Kentucky, he's supposed to look good against, his competition, things like that. Don't be worried about the level of competition that he faced. He's played plenty of Power Five schools at his time at Western Kentucky, including a trip to the Horseshoe and playing Ohio State, where he had 8 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown in that game against, some of the best DBs in the country. Now, just moving on over to the con side of things, one of the first things that I wanted to focus on was his IQ. I think he needs to work on making himself more available for quarterbacks when the play breaks down. Just really learning how to freestyle and being better in that situation, I think will go a long way for him. And I think that's something that'll come with some more experience. Another thing that I saw on tape with him was his blocking. And it's not necessarily saying that he can't block. To me, it almost just seems like, when running plays happen, he took those as an opportunity to take the play off. So I do have question marks there. Hopefully a coach, whatever team he goes to, they can get a little bit more buy-in in that department. But it's just really, that's an incomplete form. I just didn't see any of it on tape. Another con for me is, while I do think he has good hands, don't really expect this kid to make those spectacular contested catches, 50-50 balls where he's one-on-one with the DB that you think is, inferior. He's just not that guy to go up and make those types of plays. And then the last con that I have for him just watching the film is that I think he needs to learn how to not let defenders play through him for PBU. So some of those, slightly contested catches, things like that, I thought that the talent that Malachi is, he should have reeled in some of those catches. And I got a couple of examples for those in the film. But I just think that, he hasn't gotten to that point yet where he learns how to defend those DBs off and really just take advantage of that space that they've given in front of him. Now, with all that said, I do want to go ahead and get right into the comparison here. And for me, I mean, this is a carbon copy of Deebo Samuel. Whatever team he goes to, they are going to use him the exact same way that the San Francisco 49ers use Deebo. You see Deebo all the time get those jet sweeps and direct snaps, and they play him at running back, things like that. And just looking at the measurables, I mean, if you swap these names, you'd have no clue, which was which. Both 5'11", weighed damn near identical at 215. Now, Malachi hasn't jumped yet. I know he didn't work out at the combine and he didn't jump at his pro day either, but he did run the 40 at his pro day, and scouts had him anywhere between like a 4.43 and a 4.49. So I kind of just split the baby, put him at a 4.45 there. And then you saw Debo, at the combine, he went 4.48 there. And I just think Malachi is a freak athlete, and he's going to be able to do the exact same things that a Debo Samuel does, with that San Francisco 49ers team. Now, let's get right into that film. And I want to start with the Ohio State game that actually happened pretty early in the season for Western Kentucky. So we'll start off here with the first play where I think Malachi is doing a good job of showing off the hands that he does have. Now, you'll see here, he started on the outside. You see him in motion here, like I alluded to a little bit earlier, where they don't typically play him outside, but when they do, typically he's going to motion back inside to um, get in the slot for the quarterback. But you'll see there, low throw. He picks it off the ground with one hand and makes the catch, gets a few yards, nothing crazy there, but I just wanted to show it because I mean that shows the kind of hands that he does possess. Basically picking this ball off the dirt and go ahead, getting 3-4 yards, nothing crazy there, but I think it's a good job of just showing you how talented he is with his hands. Now, just moving on later in this game, I'm going to show you an example of a play where I think he could have done a better job of making himself available when the play breaks down. And typically, I probably wouldn't be showing you this kind of stuff, but I just saw it happen so much on film that I felt like it's something that needs to be noted because you see all the time now, especially at the NFL level, where you have all these athletic quarterbacks that aren't necessarily throwing on rhythm and they're extending plays and things like that. And Malachi is going to have to get adjusted to doing that at the next level. So you'll see Malachi. The arrow actually pointed to the wrong area. This is not Malachi. Malachi was up top. He went in motion. So this is Malachi up here. And you'll see him run. And I would like him to just flatten down a little bit more there. That actually wasn't the area where, he needed to freestyle there, but I do want him to flatten himself a lot better there to just make himself more available for the quarterback. In this situation, he ran right into the coverage. So you see there, he's going down here. I would like him to either somehow, like once he sees what coverage they're in, get in front of this linebacker here, or just work on getting this angle here in front of that linebacker and getting leverage on the outside there. This is a bad decision by his quarterback, Austin Reed. But again, I think he needs to do a better job of just making himself available in that situation. Now, the biggest thing that you'll see on Malachi's film is the way that he moves after the catch. I'm giving him the nickname Yak Man. I think he's Yak Man Jones over here because literally every time he gets the ball, it's impossible to get this kid down with just one defender. So you see him on the outside again there. They're running a little screen for him. Boom. Now breaks one tackle, gets through, fighting. Ultimately was the first down on the play. I'll go to actually we can run it from the end zone view. Denzel Burke. That's going to be one of the top 3 cornerbacks off the board in next year's class, and he runs him over like he's nothing. But that's a All-American caliber cornerback right there. And Malachi Corley runs him over and ultimately picks up the first down there. So thought that was big and just showing you that he can do it against the highest level of competition. Now, just the last play in this game here, I wanted to show a little bit of his versatility. So you'll see here, he's going in motion. I think he's actually going to take the jet sweep. So he takes the jet sweep, sticks his foot, goes downhill, and ultimately runs through the A gap there. A lot of receivers, they like getting on the outside because they feel like they're faster than everybody else, and they don't want to go between the tackles and get hit. But with Malachi Corley, he is not afraid of getting hit at all. You can design plays like this where they run the counter and get him right through that A gap there. And I think that just does a great job of showing off his versatility as well. Now, that was it from the Ohio State game. We're going to be moving on now over to Louisiana Tech, where he had a monster day in that one. So, and we're going to start off pretty much right out the gate. And Louisiana Tech should have known what kind of day it was about to be because this is pretty early on in the game. And Malachi Corley said, I'm taking this one to the crib. So we'll start here. You see the arrow up here. This one is actually accurate. You got Malachi Corley up top there. They're in the double stack formation, and they're going to throw. It looks like an RPO, and they get it to Malachi. You would think this defender here has him tackled. He has him wrapped up. The sideline is his friend, but no, he shrugs him off, and then he takes the distance here. This is what I mean when I say you cannot get Malachi Corley on the ground with just one defender. So you'll see it here from the end zone view. They get out there, and I mean, he runs that defender right over, and the sideline is right there. And not to mention, what a great job of keeping his balance and staying in bounds with a defender holding on to his ankle for dear life. But he goes through that, stays in bounds, takes the distance, and this puts Western Kentucky out in front pretty early in this game. Now we'll move on here. It's the next drive. Still early on in this game. This is an example of Malachi beating some man coverage here. So you'll see it's off man coverage. I believe it's Malachi here in the slot. Yep, that is him. So you'll see that the safety is responsible for it. This safety here is responsible for him. Everyone else is manned up everywhere else. Looks like they're probably going to cover one. And he sets up the safety on the inside, goes through. I think that's just a great job of creating space for himself to get open there. We won't run that one back from the end zone view just because you won't be able to see much there, but there's plenty of good stuff from this game, so we'll just keep it rolling along here. Another opportunity to show you guys just how special Malachi can be in the open field. So you'll see Malachi here in the slot top of the screen, and he takes this drag route and takes it the distance yet again. So missed tackle by Louisiana Tech. Now I know, that wasn't great form or anything like that, but that's a missed tackle. And again, Malachi, you consistently see that. Defender on his back, doesn't matter. You're not getting this kid to the ground with just one defender. It's just not going to happen. That is why I love his tape as much as I do, because I really think he can go to an NFL team right now, and you don't have to take him in the first round. You can probably you probably be able to get him in the second round, and I think he could be an instant impact and just instant offense for whatever team decides to take a flyer on him in that second round. Now, moving on to later on in the game, I believe this is still in the first half, but just later on in the game, you'll see him being able to find the soft spot in the zone. So he's lined up on the inside here in the slot. Looks like it's some zone coverage that they're playing, and Malachi sees that instantly while he's running. He knows the empty space of the field is over here. Now, I know his route is probably to go vertical and find that empty space, but does a great job finding that window. Boom, getting right in there, and ultimately gets a touchdown there. So you'll see it here again from the end zone view. He finds that open space. His quarterback finds him, end zone, touchdown. I mean, big time play from a big time player there. Just a couple more plays in this one. Then we're going to move on to the last game that we'll cover, and that's against Troy. Again, another instance of Malachi just yakking it up. So you'll see here, they run the screen to him. Western Kentucky loved running screen plays to him. Whatever way you can get him the ball, you just let him do the rest of the work. So they actually block it up pretty well here. Number 3 is flying in. He does have a clear shot, if he takes the right angle here, but it's Malachi Corley. You're not getting him down with one person. Hell, they had 2 people there, and they still didn't necessarily get him to the ground. So we'll see it from the end zone view here. They flow over. Not really. I mean, it is blocked well. Don't get me wrong. This should be a tackle, I'd say, no more than the 35, 36 yard line. But it's Malachi Corley, so he gets it all the way down to the 45-yard line, getting you an extra 10 yards in that one. Now, last play that we got from this game, again, another opportunity where I think Malachi could have done a better job of making himself available. So you'll see him here in the slot, and quarterbacks looking, play breaks down. Malachi's still going vertical here. I don't know what he's thinking about, but never really decided to turn back and come back to the football there. And to me, I just think that's just missed opportunities, especially if Malachi is going to be a kid that's coming into these teams that can give you instant offense and really be a number two, and then down the line a number one option for you. I just think this is just, a little bit of missed opportunities here. So he's looking back. He knows the quarterback's out of the pocket right now. Come back to the football here, try to make a play and make yourself available for the quarterback. Doesn't do that. Quarterback tries to throw to somebody else's incomplete pass. I'm sure in that situation, he'd rather be throwing the ball to Malachi Corley there. So I would just like to see him get better in that area. Now, we are done with that game, and now we are just going on to the last game, and that is against Troy, where again, I'm beating a dead horse here. He yacked it up against Troy as well. And, you know, we will start off with actually a con though, and that's going to be making himself available. Just so you guys understand, you probably get the point by now. Do a better job of just making life easier on his quarterback. While I'm sure his quarterback appreciates the hell out of him for all the extra yardage that the ball wasn't in the air, I say just finding some open field and finding ways to just give your quarterback a chance to turn a potentially, negative play into maybe even a positive one if it's a 50-50 shot. But you'll see here Malachi, top of the screen there. He goes out. He's going on this out route here. He sees that the quarterback is scrambling out. Would love for him to come back to the football and just give his quarterback a shot to potentially throw a low ball and make a play there. But doesn't do that. And I just don't like that from him. And I actually think I pointed out the wrong player in that situation there. Malachi was actually up on the sideline. So you'll have him in the stack there. This is actually Malachi here. So you see, he still sees the quarterback though, getting out of the pocket there, and gets all the way out there, and he just stands on the sideline. This isn't what I want to see from the best offensive weapon on the team. Come back to the football just a little bit. Not saying you got to come all the way back up here, but the quarterback's not throwing you the ball there with this defender on you. Just move around a little bit and, try and give your quarterback a path to get you the football there. But, outside of that, though, Malachi Corley had a phenomenal game against this Troy team. And we're going to move on later in this game where, once again, he was yakking it up. Now, you will see Malachi down here in the slot. Set, go. They get it to him on a slant. There are four. I'd even count him. There are 5 defenders around Malachi in this spot, all within 5 yards of him. You would think this is probably a tackle. I'd say 7-yard gain at best. But watch what Malachi goes and does with this play. Spin move, gets an extra 5, and it may not seem like much. And you see these guys jumping around. Now, I'll get on him. He fumbled the ball here. This was a turnover, but just the effort of Malachi to just fight for those extra yards in certain situations. Now, I didn't want to necessarily list this as a con because this isn't something you see on film. He's not a guy that fumbles the ball a lot. But with that said, you got to have better ball security. But I'm not going to get on you that. I love the effort, and I love how violent you are when it comes to trying to fight for those extra yardage. Now, moving on more in this game, showing you just a little bit more of the versatility side of Malachi in this one. So he's actually lined up at running back here, and it's nothing fancy, just an inside zone play. And, you had some tacklers down there in the box where, this could essentially be a tackle right here. It's a 1 yard gain, no big deal. But no, you're not bringing him down that easy. First guy has to miss almost every single time. And I just wanted to show that as an example of where you could line him up at as well, just to potentially get some extra looks and extra touches for him. Now, again, this is going to be an example of Malachi being able to create yards after the catch. So you see, has him on slot there. Another drag here. This looks like it should be a tackle. This should not be a touchdown. It's Matt Corley. Of course, it's a touchdown. Whenever you are in that spot, he's going to make that guy miss and get those extra yards, especially to the end zone. Boom, touchdown. I love seeing that from here. Now we'll move on to essentially the next time that Western Kentucky is on offense here, and it's going to be more of the same. See him in the slot there. They run the screen for him. Boom. They are behind the sticks here. You have 4 defenders within a 4-yard radius of Malachi Corley. You would think this has to be a tackle somewhere before this 30-yard line. Let's see how the play ends up turning out. So a play where a lot of people are tackled at the 30-yard line, you see Malachi Corley get all the way to his opponent's side of the field. And I'm not exaggerating with you. Like, I know from the other angle, it looks like the guys were a lot closer here. And I'm not even necessarily saying that, Malachi did some crazy stuff here. But I just think the threat of him and just his ability to stick his foot in the ground and get upfield, there's no way this play right here, blocked how it was, should have gotten 30 plus yards. But Malachi Corley, he makes these types of plays happen and, out leverages the safety there. Ultimately, the safety makes the tackle, but just getting those extra yardage there, love seeing that from him. Now, just a couple more plays in this one, and then we will be done for the day with Malachi. Just another opportunity where I thought Malachi did a really good job of sitting in the soft spot in some zone coverage. So you see him down here and clearly recognizes his zone coverage. He knows that linebacker has this area of the field. He ran by this guy. He's looking for the ball right away and gets in there, goes down, doesn't take the hit. I love seeing that from him. You even get to see a better shot of it from the end zone view. So he sits right in that sweet spot. Quarterback doesn't have to stress. It's not a tight window. If he runs any more, though, you risk this linebacker being able to make a play or this linebacker coming in on the football. Malachi does a good job finding that soft spot, makes the good catch for a ball that was behind him, showing off the hands there, and just really making a big play for that Western Kentucky offense. Now, the last play in this game, we're going to unfortunately end it on a sour note. It's just one of those, I think, missed opportunities. And this is an example of of Malachi not making that contested or just X factor play that you expect from a receiver of his caliber. So you'll see him up here, the top here on the inside, and quarterback gets a little trouble. Now, I think he actually does a good job of, staying in the sweet spot of this zone here. I know it's a situation where the quarterback's off of his mark, but I think he does a good job of still staying in an empty space where there's a window for a quarterback to fit the ball into him. But ball comes his way. I know you get hit from 2 different angles, and I know it's not easy to hold on to that ball, but a receiver of your caliber has to make that catch. You look at it, ball, it's great placement. I know he has to jump for it. That has to be a catch, Malachi. I'm sorry. It'd be different if you were a different kind of player or a different caliber player, but for me, I think you got to catch that ball, and I think he knows that. I think if you ask him about that specific play, I think he knows he should have caught the ball there. But, with all of that said, that is it for Malachi, and that's really it for this episode. Next week, we are going to go back over to the defensive defensive side of the ball, we're going to be focusing on edge player Brandon Dorlus from Oregon. And then, I think we're going to pretty much go back and forth between offense, defense, offense, defense. And then the last one, I haven't forgotten. I know you guys still want Caleb Williams. I'll make sure that we get Caleb done. He's probably going to be the last one in the series. And, we will go from there. But I do have, I believe, one, maybe even two more slots available for, players to watch some film on. So I do still want to, get some more suggestions from you guys in the comments and really just go from there. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. And until next week, we will see you with Brandon Dorlus on Real Recognizes Real.